All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling what might just be the single biggest risk to your investment portfolio. And guess what? It's your own mind. We're going to dive into the work of Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman and break down how our own thinking can lead to some really, really expensive mistakes. So let's just ask it straight up. Is your brain secretly working against you when it comes to your investments? It's a huge question. Because, the mental shortcuts that literally helped our ancestors survive, well, they're often the very same things that wreck our financial decisions today.
Okay, let's get into it. The core idea here is that you've got two different operating systems running in your head. Think of them as two computers that are constantly at war for control, especially when your money is on the line.
So on one hand, you've got System 1. This is your gut reaction, right? It's pure autopilot, it's fast, it's emotional, and it works without you even thinking about it. This is the part of your brain that makes you swerve the car to avoid something before you even consciously process what it is. Then you have System 2. Now this is manual control. It's slow, it's deliberate, and man, it takes a lot of energy. This is the system you fire up to solve a tricky math problem or plan a really complicated trip.
And this is really the heart of the problem. Your System 1, that ancient survival brain, absolutely loves taking shortcuts to save energy. And these shortcuts, called heuristics, they were fantastic for making split-second life-or-death decisions out on the savannah. But in today's complex financial markets, they just become these huge, expensive liabilities.
All right, so let's pull back the curtain and meet the three biggest villains that your System 1 unleashes on your portfolio. These are the mental traps that feel so right in the moment, but are often disastrously wrong.
Okay, first up, we have the availability heuristic. This one is a simple but incredibly powerful trap where your brain basically confuses easy to remember with likely to happen. It's not weighing the actual odds, it's weighing how vivid a story is. So a terrifying headline about a market crash feels way more important than decades of data showing steady growth, just because that story is recent, it's emotional, and it's easy to picture.
A perfect example of this in action was that infrastructure stock mania back in 2021. Remember that? After a big government announcement, the story was just everywhere. It was vivid, it was recent, and it felt like a sure thing. So people just piled into anything and everything related to construction. That story, that easy narrative, it completely drowned out the actual, often pretty terrible financial health of these companies.
And the fallout? Man, it was staggering. When all that hype finally died down and reality kicked in, a lot of those obvious investments just collapsed. I mean, look at this. Investors who jumped on that bandwagon saw losses of 30 to 50%. Look, this isn't just some fun psychological quirk we're talking about. This is real money, a direct and really painful hit to people's wallets.
So how in the world do you fight back against this? Well, this is where you have to force yourself to engage that slow, deliberate System 2. Instead of just reacting to a great story, you dig into the long-term data. Instead of getting caught up in the latest trend, you research what happened the last 5 times something looked this obvious. You have to prioritize the numbers over the narrative.
All right, our next mental villain is the representativeness heuristic. Our brains are absolute pattern-matching machines. They're so good at it that they start seeing meaningful patterns where there's just, well, random noise. And in investing, that means we constantly mistake a lucky streak for pure genius.
You know this one, right? It's the classic hot mutual fund trap. We see a fund that's crushed the market for 3 years in a row, and our fast-thinking System 1 brain just screams, "This manager is a genius. It's a sure thing. This pattern is real." We build a whole story about skill and talent to explain what is, more often than not, just random luck.
And the data on this is just brutal. A mind-boggling 85% of those top-performing funds completely fail to keep up that performance in the years that follow. That pattern wasn't skill, it was just statistical noise. It's a classic case of what they call regression to the mean. It's this simple, powerful idea that wild successes, and failures for that matter, they don't last. Things almost always drift back to the average over time.
So how do you protect yourself? Simple. You've got to be a skeptic. Demand a much bigger sample size. Don't just look at 3 years of data. That's nothing. Demand 10 years or even more. And always,
Always remember that extreme results tend to come back down to earth. Most importantly, try to focus on the process behind a decision, not just the lucky outcome.
And our final mental trap is maybe the most sneaky of them all, the affect heuristic. This is when your gut feeling about a company or a brand totally replaces any real financial analysis. Basically, if a company gives you the warm fuzzies, your brain just skips the hard work and decides, yep, good investment.
A perfect case study here is Tata Motors under its legendary former CEO, Ratan Tata. People had such a strong positive feeling about him and the brand that the stock itself just felt safe. And that feeling made it way too easy for many to ignore some pretty clear warning signs as the business fundamentals started to shift simply because their positive emotions overrode the negative facts. There's really only one antidote for this one: cold, hard discipline. You got to build a firewall between your feelings and your finances. Do the numbers first, before you even let yourself think about how you feel. Actively play devil's advocate. Go out and find 5 reasons your favorite stock could totally fail. A systematic process is truly your best defense against your own feelings.
Okay, so we've met the villains, we've seen the traps they set. It's a bit grim, I know. But now, let's talk about the solution. Let's build the toolkit you can actually use to fight back. Think of these as your tripwires, your personal alarm bells. Anytime you feel one of these things, that feeling of absolute certainty about something, or when a story in the news makes an investment seem obvious, or you just feel a strong emotional pull towards a stock, that is the siren going off telling you to slam on the brakes, slow everything down, and wake up your analytical System 2 brain.
And when that alarm goes off, here's the exact protocol you follow. It's a simple checklist, but it's powerful. Step 1, just stop, pause. Seriously, wait at least 24 hours before making a big move. Then, do the work. Research the base rates, what usually happens in situations like this. Play devil's advocate against yourself. Run the numbers, separate from the story. Get an outside view from someone you trust. And last, and this one is so important, size your investment based on how uncertain you are, not how confident you feel.
Now look, following that protocol, it takes real energy. Your analytical System 2 brain, it's like a muscle. It gets tired easily, but here's the good news. Just like a muscle, you can train it. You can make it stronger. So how do you actually do that? Here are a few really practical tips. Try to make your big money decisions in the morning when you're mentally fresh. Never, ever make them when you're stressed or hungry or tired. That's when System 1 hijacks the whole operation. Use checklists, like the one we just discussed, to make good decisions automatic. And always get an opinion from someone who isn't emotionally wrapped up in the decision.
Now, I want to be really clear about something. The goal here is not to get rid of your fast gut reaction thinking. System 1 is actually incredibly useful for that first initial scan, for spotting the really obvious red flags. The key is balance. Let System 1 do the quick first pass, but you must bring in System 2 for the heavy lifting, the final buy-or-sell decision, how much money to put in, and your overall portfolio risk.
So, at the end of the day, it really all boils down to one simple question. The next time you're about to click buy or sell, you have to ask yourself, who's making this call? Is it your fast, emotional, and flawed gut? Or is it your slow, deliberate, and thoughtful plan? Honestly, the answer to that question could make all the difference in the world.